Yo, what's poppin' everyone? Welcome back to the Shuffle Squad. Zach Lesage here. Today we're going to be covering over Charizard EX with Bibarel, one of the best decks in our post-rotation metagame. Is this deck going to win EUIC? I actually think Charizard might be the deck that takes it all, whether it's the Pidgeot build or the Bibarel build. Let me know in the comments which build you like the most, but I do want to say in this video I will be sharing over my deck list, the strategy, and gameplay of this deck. So stay tuned for all that. Let's jump into the deck list. Charizard EX has been one of the best decks in our format ever since it was released in Obsidian Flames. Now we have our post-rotation format. It's lost things like Battle VIP Pass, but we have gained Buddy-Buddy Poffin. In this deck, we're trying to just get out Charizard EX, attach a bunch of energies, draw cards with Bibarel every single turn, and really apply the pressure of being one of the most consistent decks available in formats. I do want to dive into each choice of this list a little bit more, so let's jump into the strategy of this deck. If you are playing this deck on PTCG Live, you can jump into the description of this video, grab the list, copy and paste it, and import it right into Live. If you need any of the cards for this deck in real life or online, check out our sponsors in our description to pick up all the available cards that you need. That being said, let's get into the strategy. So we're a Charizard deck, but we got to start off somewhere, and I decided to start off with our Charmanders. I went with 3 of the Charmanders that have the Heat Tackle attack, and that's just because we aren't really worried about Sableye as much in this format, because a lot of the Lost Zone variants have lost out due to rotation, such as Kyogre rotating. Less Lost Zone box decks means less Sableye. Less Sableye means that we can play our 60 HP Charmanders again. We still have one 70 HP Charmander with Blazing Destruction, just because I think that's the best 70 HP Charmander that we currently have available. Since we are playing a deck that plays Technical Machine Evolution, we want to make sure that we're getting that out as soon as possible, so this deck typically wants to go second. We'll use Arven that searches for an item card, such as Buddy-Buddy Poffin, and a Pokemon tool card, such as Technical Machine Evolution, and it allows us to get our Pokemon evolved right away. We can evolve our Bidoof into Bibarel, and we can evolve our Charmander into one of our Charmeleons. Now, I have both 2 different kinds of Charmeleons. One that has Flare Veil, just to prevent all effects of attacks used by our opponent's Pokemon, or we can use the one that has Fire Blast, and it might work out one's better than another to knock out something, or maybe your opponent has a Sableye in play, etc, etc. Once we have these Pokemon out on our next turn, we want to start using cards like Ciphermaniac's Codebreaking to put whatever cards we want on top of our deck, and then draw those cards effectively with Bibarel's Industrial and Scizor's ability. If our hand's a little bit big, before we do that action, we can always use Skwovet's Nest Dash to get our hand down real low and draw into the cards that we need. Most of the deck is really meant to get this deck surviving, or get these Pokemon evolved, such as Rare Candy into a Charizard EX, using Ciphermaniac's Codebreaking to put Prime Catcher on top of our deck and knocking out our opponent's Pokemon, or playing a boss's orders to get a knockout every single turn. One way or another, we really just want to knock out our opponent's Pokemon with Charizard EX. That's going to be the main attacker of our deck, and we self-accelerate with Infernal Rain. Burning Darkness gets better as this deck progresses throughout the game and our opponent draws prize cards, and if we ever fall a little bit behind, we can use Arven to search out a Defiance Band and do some extra damage as necessary. Radiant Charizard works as our potential other attacker, and it's only going to be seen played in the later half of the game, because Combustion Blast costs less energies for each time our opponent draws a prize card due to its Excited Heart ability. This deck is relatively basic, but that does not mean that it's ineffective. We certainly have a lot of really cool things going on with this deck, so if you like this deck, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and if you're already subscribed, we'll check to make sure that you're still subscribed, and let us know in the comments if you like the Charizard list, any changes you might have with it, or which deck you are playing in the Temporal Forces metagame. That being said, let's jump into some gameplay and see what's up. Okay, so we're just waiting for our opponent here, and your opponent chose tails, flipping the coin. Let's see if we can get heads. Love going second with this deck. So hopefully we can get the Arven or the Technical Machine Evolution thing off turn 1, or just some Pokemon out. We're really not too picky when it comes down to it. That hand would have been pretty fantastic with the double Buddy Poffin and the Arven, but we didn't have an energy. This hand, again, I don't think we had any basics in that one. So fingers crossed that third time's the charm, okay? Or fourth time, or however many mulligans we're gonna have. We'll see how it goes here. Okay, nothing crazy. I think what I want to do here is just start off with Charmander. Or maybe we want to start off with Bidoof. I think Bidoof might be a little better. Because I'd rather not get anything knocked out. And that's why we play 3 of the Bidoofs in this deck. See what our opponent's playing here. And looks like we're also playing against a Charizard deck. So something to consider for sure. And they got set up with a Buddy-Buddy Poffin. Our hand's still lacking in Arven when it comes down to it. So that's something to consider. They could be playing Pidgeot build or anything else like that. So we'll see how Charizard works one way or another. I'm okay if they get the better hand and we end up losing. Looks like it's Charizard Bibarel against Charizard Bibarel for sure. See how our opponent acts here. Typically this deck doesn't play as many rare candies, but it's still not impossible to get a rare candy Charizard turn 2 and really start eating out my Pokemon. I know I need to grab another Charmander off of our Buddy-Buddy Poffin, and I'm probably going to grab another Bidoof when it comes down to it. I could have started with Charmander. I'll have to see how it plays out. Maybe they'll just go for a Rogue Nest Dash. Be kind of funny if they went for it. Putting themselves down to 1. Meaning their hand's probably like okay. Yeah, Counter Catcher is really not the card that we were looking for. So let's go Buddy Poffin. Grabbing another Bidoof, grabbing another Charmander. We prized our Skwovet. We prized an Arven. We prized a Ciphermaniac. Some pretty yikes prizing across the board. I don't want to do too much else here because we could always attach and get a rare candy or anything else like that. Like, let's go ahead here and pass. So when this deck does not work, it really can crumble, because we just can't get rare candy into a Pidgeot and search whatever we want. Our deck's a little bit slower if we miss that turn 1 Technical Machine evolution. But maybe our opponent's in the same case, like Slow and Steady does win the race here sometimes. And there's their Rad Charizard, there's their Ultra Ball, and I'm assuming they're probably going to go for the Bibarel. Probably not playing the Iono, knowing that our hand is not the greatest. Okay. So you can see, oh, okay, they are playing Iono. Maybe we'll get Rare Candy Charizard. That'd be really cool. We have Bibarel, and we have Switch, and we have opportunities here. So if we start attacking into their 2 prize card Pokemon, we could do kind of okay. I'm generally okay with it. And I'm glad that we grabbed the other Bidoof just in case. So if we just got an Ultra Ball, an Arven, or anything, we're generally going to be kind of okay here. There's their Defiance. I so badly want to go after this one. Oh, they haven't used it already. Okay, I was going to say, if they use Nest Dash and end their turn like that, you can't ever do that because your opponent could just knock out your Bibarel. There's their Burning Darkness. And you want to know what? I'm in a better spot right now than I was last turn. So we're going to send up the one that has 70 HP because the Heat Tackle could be better in this matchup with a Defiance. That is not what we were looking for. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in our hand. We still have a chance to just get rare candy, and I think that might just be our best choice. Let's grab an energy. We'll slap it on here, and I think I'm going to go Iono and hope for rare candy Zard because we just can't play enough cards to use Industrial and Scissors down. Really not a whole bunch here. I think I just want to go Nest Ball. Gonna probably just like play this game out very similarly to our opponents. Putting a Radiant Charizard down. I'm gonna put a Technical Machine Evolution down. And if we can get Rare Candy Zard, again, we're back in business. Otherwise, we are not in business. Okay, so we're struggling here a lot. But we can use Evolution here and maybe get something set up. Let's choose these two Pokemon. So there's Bibarel. We'll choose this Charmeleon. And they'll get the knockouts. We're going to have to play interesting to kind of jump back into this game. But maybe we'll get there. Like, I think it's one of those things where, like, when it rains, it pours, and we can show how you might be able to jump back into the game a little bit. We can't really get them with Iono. We can't really get them with a lot of things. So maybe we could just knock out their Charizard and they don't get out Charmeleon or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. But at least our first game worked out really nicely. Don't know why they'd bring up this Pokemon to knock it out, considering we just grabbed out another Bibarel. It's probably, like, I don't want to be like that's arguably the worst Pokemon they could have brought up, in my opinion, but interesting choice from them. I just want to start attacking into their Charizard EX, to be completely honest. So then they're at 5. I mean, if we can attack into their Charizard EX, we might not be able to get to a one-shot anytime soon, but that's really where our goal is. If we can get a one-shot on our opponent's Pokemon, or use our Defiance Band to go knockout, knockout, knockout. If we can knock out 3 2-prize card Pokemon before our opponent draws all their 6 prize cards, I think we could be okay. Maybe they'll also run out of energies, because they have 1, 2, 3, 4 in play. Overall, we'll see how it plays out. I think the best Pokemon for me to send up is probably just going to be this Charmeleon. And we will see. I don't think it matters right now, so I'm just going to try to get rid of some of these cards that we have in our hand. Putting this down, and let's go for Iono. Again, really looking for Ultra Ball, Charizard EX, anything. I feel kind of okay here. So there's our Charizard EX. And yeah, let's go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I don't think I really want to discard anything from this hand yet. So right now, actually, you want to know what? I'm probably going to just wait on this for next turn. And we're just going to go for Burning Darkness. Like, I don't think there's anything else that we really can do. So let's go Burning Darkness here, 240. We do have Collapsed Stadium in our deck. And the Collapsed Stadium that we have in our deck can be quite opportunistic. Because we could potentially discard this Charizard EX that's heavily damaged. And then jump back into the prize trade with our opponents. So that's something that I'm really excited for. Maybe they'll go after another Pokemon. Like, if they go after this Bibarel, that'd be very interesting. It's an interesting looking Boss's Orders art. Oh, it looks like it's definitely taken from the Charizard EX art, but however it is, we're going to keep on plugging into our opponent's Pokemon and trying to heal whatever possible. There's text that you could add into this deck like Professor Turo. That'd be pretty interesting when it comes down to it. So there's their Forest Seal Stone that I guess they probably play Lumineon. And you can see without Pidgeot, they're able to continuously go through their deck, putting cards, drawing. Like, this is working out kind of okay. Oh, they played EUIC. Some interesting tech cards. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. They can only hit us for 180. We'll see how it ends up playing out. But their Defiance is probably not going to ever work. How many no Charmanders in their discard pile? Okay, so for us, we did get a boss. I think I want to knock out the active. So let's go ahead here. We're probably going to have to go Ultra Ball, discarding a Fire and a Boss's Orders. Unfortunately, I did not want to necessarily do that, but like this does get us our Charizard EX to some degree. Let's go ahead here and go Rare Candy into this Charizard EX. And maybe I could have retreated first before I did that and used the Infernal Rain. I think that would have been a little bit better, actually. So that's something that I definitely missed, because I'm about to just go Super Rod and put some energies back in here. But maybe, like, I have some more opportunities to do some other things. Like, we'll see. I think I want to grab another Bidoof, just in case. Don't want to put this Defiance Band on anything yet. Let's just go for Industrial and Scissors. There's Bidoof. I'll build up an energy here. And if they go boss after it, I do get the punch kind of strat with the Defiance belts, because we do 330. So we still have some opportunities to come back in this game, which is quite interesting. So there's a couple of our prize cards. There's an Ultra Ball. There's an Arven. Okay, so I'm not upset about it. Not necessarily getting the cards that I want here, but I do have some kind of idea to maybe jump back into this game, kind of, maybe. We'll see. Probably just going to grab another Charmander here, because whenever you only have one Charmeleon or Charizard or anything, you need to have two of your guys in play. Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard. I don't know what happened there. Do they have the energies for it? We'll see. They're not behind on prize cards, but they definitely can knock out this Charizard EX, which would be interesting. We'll see how they end up playing this out. If they knock it out, then I just have my own Charizard that can maybe get a knockout. Could be grabbing a Prime Catcher here. So Prime Catcher does get them knocked out again. I think we might actually take this game, to be honest. If we could find our Collapsed Stadium. I don't think we've played it yet. Oh, I'm so confused here. They keep on going after Bibarel, which is, like, not the worst strategy I've ever seen. But, like, we can just go after their Charizard again. And I guess I have a bunch of boss's orders. So, like, yeah, maybe they'll end up winning this game just because they aggressively played boss against a bunch of single prize card Pokemon. But this is not really how I would, like, approach this matchup. Because I'm still just, like, getting set up. Like, that's the biggest thing for me. It's like, I'm still just set up. I think I'd have to knock out some other... Like, I think I'm about to go go after their Radiant Charizard here this turn. So I'm going to go ahead and send up this. I could have just gone Counter Catcher, so that's something else I could have definitely done. Let's go ahead and go Prime Catcher, bringing up... they've drawn 3 prize cards, so I still just have to go after... we'll go after this Pokemon. I think that makes the most sense. And I haven't drawn Skwovet yet, so let's just go ahead and go for Burning Darkness. Really not worried about what else there is to come. And if we're able to knock out 2 single prize card Pokemon before our opponent knocks out something like our Charizard EX on our bench, they might just lose the game. So if they attack into this Charizard EX this turn, I think we have a chance. But we'll have to see how things play out. Like, they do put us in a range where we could potentially get there. So there's a Rare Candy Charizard. They're down 2 Fire Energies, 3, 4, 5. So they probably have 2 Fire Energies left or 1 Fire Energy left. So our opponent has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's fine. If we also knock out this Charizard on their active, we lose the game. So we have to knock out one of their other Pokemon before we knock out their Charizard EX. Because going down to 1 is dangerous. Okay, so they're just going to go after with that Charizard. I think we lose the game no matter what. at this point, because they've put us in a situation where if they didn't get the Charizard EX out, like we have a Charizard EX and they can just knock us out with their Charizard EX. That's why some builds are thinking about playing Hero's Cape, because when we attack with a single prize card Pokemon, they knock us out. The only chance that we have is maybe like just decking out our opponents. To be honest, that's really where my next idea is. So I'm going to start off and send up Charizard. And we'll see if we can get there. Let's go Defiance Bands. And this is like a really cool play that we can do. Like we can knock out this Charizard EX and get down to one prize card. We have to come up with an alternative way. So let's just go Skwovet and let's go put, let's go Ciphermaniac's Codebreaking. We're going to go ahead and put this there. Sorry, we're going to go ahead and put this here. I didn't realize that I had to put the top card there. And we'll put Boss again on top of our opponent's deck. So let's do this. And then we could go ahead and go Nest Dash. And we will put these cards at the bottom of our deck. And we will draw into the Counter Catcher. This allows us to maybe deck out our opponents. Because if they only play one Prime Catcher, one Switch, 7 energies, we might be able to deck them out with the 8 cards left in their deck. So let's go ahead here and pass. If we knock out this Bibarel, our opponent might just have another Boss's Orders or something like that to knock out any of our Pokemon in play. And they could play a Switch, they could play a Jet Energy, they might run out of resources here, so we're going to use... Sometimes our alternate win con is decking out our opponents, and that's all we can do. This game was a really poor setup game, and I think if we had one turn earlier, we had a big chance to maybe get there. Our opponent should be able to draw through their entire deck this turn if they have a card to win the game. I don't think they have enough energies to make anything happen. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I think they've also played 2 Super Rods. So there's their Arven. If they have another Switch, we lose the game. It is what it is. There's their Buddy Poffin. Guess we'll see how it plays out. So it's another big thing when it comes down to this deck is not to waste that Switch if you don't need to. They could have definitely played their deck down. We have that other boss just in case they put another Pokemon up or they attach an energy here or they put another Pokemon down. We're just going to go ahead here and pass. And there's only so many things that we can do. I guess they can continuously use once during your turn. You may shuffle your hand and put it at the bottom of your deck, draw a card. They'd run out of time, I guess, if they just went for Nest Dash every single turn. Which would be really funny. I guess Nest Dash is like definitely a new way to avoid deck out here. So let's just go ahead here and pass. And I think we're just going to continuously spam press pass. I'm pretty sure we'll eventually win this game when it comes down to it. So they're going to go Nest Dash. And there's nothing else that I really want to be doing here, so I'm just going to press end turn. Nest Dash, so I just want to double check. So once during your turn, you may shuffle your hand and put it on the bottom of your deck. If you put any cards on the bottom of your deck in this way, draw a card. We don't have a way to like eat through our opponent's deck, so they can't ever deck out. And if we knock out Skwovet, we lose the game because our opponent's just going to knock out Charizard. So we're just going to end our turn because we have Skwovet and they have Skwovet. So I think it's going to come down to us, like if my opponent like does not have the switching cards, the next win con that we're going to have is going to be how much time is left in the game. They could run out of time. And if that comes down to this case, I'm determined to win this game and I will like shuffle draw for the next 14 minutes. I don't think there's any other win con that I have. Like I don't play a card that decks out our opponent. I don't play anything else. Like our opponent might just give up here. Like I think we've seen it to the point where like they've seen every single card in their deck and maybe they're memeing on us. Like I think it's one of those things where it's like not to be like it would be absolutely hilarious if our opponent pulls out a Switch 10 minutes into us going back and forth here. But they definitely like used too many of their resources, and I found the alternate win con. So maybe they're just like, hey, I don't know entirely what's going on here. They don't want to lose the game. I don't want to lose the game. We're just going to click here and click pass. And continuously click pass. Like, there's a 5-minute difference in time when it's come down to it, and our opponent would deck out if normally it would go down to this. So we'll see how it plays out for our opponents. I don't think they're necessarily... Oh, they have the Professor Turo. Okay. But if they have Professor Turo, then that means I could just go boss to bring up another Pokemon. And then we'll just go end turn, because I'm assuming that they have an energy. Like, I'm just like really unsure of why they didn't attack us with a Charizard. Because if they ever had another Turo, like, I could get another thing. Like, that to me is really like where I'm just like unsure. And now they're playing cards. I think like what if I grab, I have to vacuum up their, so okay, so since there's no potential, like whatever, I'm gonna have to go like this, take away their if they decide to do that again, like if they have like PAL Pad or something like that, I'm just gonna go ahead there, go Arven, search my deck for Super Rod, and I'm gonna go Super Rod, and we'll see how it plays out. Our opponent could also be doing the same thing to us. So let's go end turn. The reason why I want to grab Super Rod is so we can put back our own cards. We still have a bosses left into the deck, so hopefully we just draw into it. But I'm not sure what our opponent's win con is going to be here. Because you can see that we have like we have a 5-minute like time difference. So that's how that's going to work, because like there has to be a win con, and in PTCG Live there's no time. Like if this was a game best of one in an in real life tournament, we'd probably end up tying. And if it was best of 3, like they'd be in a situation where it's like after 50 minutes, like they could not do this. They are not progressing a win con, which does not go against, like, if we get stuck into a loop like this, they can decide, like a judge can decide who wins, I believe, based off the rules. I don't know if there's any professors. I think there's things like when it gets into like these loops that are typically in control decks, but I guess we're just there as well. We'll see what else we have available in our deck. But it looks like our opponent, like, we actively, like, I guess when it comes down to time, our opponent can never deck out, but they've utilized more time. I think, like, when it comes to this, there's no win con ever, and they'd probably, like, give us +3 turns. So I think, like, in a lot of cases, it would be a tie, but based off the amount of time remaining in the game, our opponent will lose the game overall. So they're going to concede. We take those. I appreciate our opponent not making us wait a billion years. Shout out to the alternate win con. Let's go. So as you can see, Charizard is pretty consistent when it comes down to it. Things can also come up where it's like, yeah, you missed a few of those things, or your opponent Ionos you, or you just miss a single piece. But Charizard Bibarel is also offering less prize cards up than the Pidgeot variant, which is one of the few things that we could see how this deck could be a little bit better. Heroescape is a card that I'm really considering adding into Zard in general, along with some disruption cards like Eerie. I might want to search those out of the deck when it comes down to something like Pidgeot, so stay tuned for some more decks available. If I put any of those deck lists, it would be on my own personal Patreon, so check out patreon.com/ZachLesage or ZachLesage one or the other. I think it's ZachLesage. And if you're looking for any coaching coming from me, if you're trying to pull out those alternate win cons, or just really trying to improve your gameplay, hit me up on metafy.gg/@ZachLesage. I really appreciate everyone tuning in for this video. Check out the description for all of our sponsors, and we'll catch up with all y'all real soon. Peace out and have a great one. Want to support the Shuffle Squad? Be sure to check out all of our sponsors in the description to pick up Pokemon TCG singles, sealed, and PTCG live codes. You made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching this entire video from the Shuffle Squad. Honestly, from the bottom of our hearts, we appreciate each and every person that supports our content, watches what we have going on every single day, every single week, even from time to time, and continuously allows us to have a forum to project our creative content towards the Pokemon TCG community. So if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and even leave a comment to help boost the YouTube algorithm. That being said, we'll catch you with our next video. Thanks again. Take it easy.